There we go. All right, now we know it's working, don't we? Good morning, everybody. How are you all doing today? Welcome to 50 Blocks in 50 Weeks. We are on week 3. Week 3, right? Yes. This week you can see we are going to be working on the bear paw block. It's such a cute little block. So simple. So that's why I thought it would be a great block for week 3. You can see here that I have taken several blocks and put them together into a little table topper. And this pattern will be a free download for you if you make it to the end of the video. And I'll give you the coupon code for that at the end of the show. Welcome, everybody. If this is your first time here, my name is Bradie, and we gather every Wednesday morning at 10:30 a.m. and do some fun block tutorials. Are you guys familiar with the bear paw block? I had to do it in browns. It just made the most sense. Just didn't look right in any other color. So it is, I love bears. Grew up in northern Alberta, lots of bears up there. Every time we travel through BC, we seem to find a bear as well. So I guess I just kind of have a thing for bears. That's all right though, right? So you probably already received your pattern by email. If you're new to the show, then you need to visit us at sparrowquiltco.com, or there is a link below this video, somewhere near this video, where you can visit the website. You're going to enter your name and email address, and we're going to email the pattern to you. And like I said, if you make it to the end of the show, you'll get a coupon code so that you can download this little pattern for free. And we have put up the fabric kits for the single block, and we do have the pattern kits up, or the fabric kits up for the full table topper as well. So you can purchase both of these items, the fabric kit for either of those. We are using the Paintbrush Studio Painter's Palette solids for these blocks, the 50 blocks in 50 weeks. And I have to tell you, I'm really, really enjoying these solids. Not all solids are created equal, is what I have found over time. And these ones are a wonderful price point, and they have a really nice quality to them, a bit of a sheen, and they don't unravel before your eyes as you make your cuts. So I really, really like that, because I don't like to see my fabrics breaking down right before my face. We have already done the Quilt Block Studio, the quick and dirty version, as we like to call it, block on YouTube, so you can check that out. It's maybe 3 minutes long, just real quick, and you can get to the point if you are in a hurry. Now, for those of you who've been watching for a while, and maybe you watched along with the Mystery Summer Sampler, where we did the 12 different blocks on Wednesday mornings, I've got the finishing instructions finished, and Landon will be sending those out this afternoon. So those of you who are waiting for that, the answer to your prayers is coming. Those fabrics are, the instructions are on their way. So let's go ahead and check the second page. Actually, these might be out of order. We got a lot of comments from you guys about the diagrams being a little bit blurry, and I think this week we finally got that sorted out. So when you, even if you just open the pattern on your computer or on your iPad, you are going to be able to see those numbers nice and clearly. There'll be no more blurry images. So you don't have to read all the text if you don't want to, but I do like to include different versions because everybody learns differently. Got a question? Good. Okay, so let's go ahead and start cutting. We are going to need, I used 3 different browns for my block. You could certainly just use one brown if you just wanted to keep it simple. And then you would just combine all your fabric requirements and cut them all out of a single piece of fabric. If you had a 1/4 meter of brown, that would be more than enough for you to do up this little block. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start with cutting out my whites. And I always like to cut the widest strip first and then cut down as needed to make sure that I have enough fabric. So because we're going to be cutting squares and triangles out of this, I'm going to cut my triangle width first. We know that has to be a bit wider. So I'm going to cut those today at 4 7/8. And then I can cut that down to 4 1/2 for my squares later. Today I am just using my good old Omni Grip 6x24 ruler, and later on I'm going to use the guidelines rulers to show you how to miniaturize this bear paw block. We're going to go about half size. So I went to 5 inches, and then I just went down that 1/8 of an inch, and that helps me stay on track. So my strip is 4 7/8, and I need 2 squares in that size, and then I'm going to trim it down to 4.5 and cut myself a 4.5-inch square. What's that? The squares I'm cutting now are 4 7/8, and then I'm going to use those to make triangles, and then I'll cut a square that is 4.5. Oh, I changed my trash can, and I forgot to put it back. There it is. All right, so to make this easier for myself, I always go to the 5, and then I just go down that 1/8 of an inch. And I am lined up at the 7/8 all the way along, and I'm making sure that I'm lined up on the horizontal as well. I really want to make sure I'm square before I start chopping stuff up. And this one, I'm going to take it, turn it on the diagonal, and I'm going to cut it tip to tip to give myself 4 triangles total. Now, you guys, I forgot to ask you to share. You guys know the drill. Everybody's been sharing already. That's great. So you know the drill. I'm going to give away the full kit to make the table topper today at the end of the show. So in order to qualify for that, you got to share this video, and then I need you to come back and tell me that you've shared so that we can find you easily. We can't always see your Facebook profiles if you're private, so I need you to come back and tell me. Now, my strip, I know in my head it's 4 7/8 wide, so I'm going to cut a 4.5-inch square off of here, and I only need a single. So let's open this up. And then I'm going to turn it and cut it down to 4.5 the other direction as well. 4.5. There we go.
Jeans, if I could see this as quilt using some of the bare material I've seen online.
Oh, that would be really cute, putting your bare fabric into this quilt. These squares here are nice and big, so if you have some sort of print that you really want to show off, that's the place to do it. It's an 8.5-inch square. So that's a lot of showcasing space. All right, so now I'm trimming this down to 4.5. All right, so we're done with our white for now. Let's get that out of here. Next, I'm going to cut my big brown square, just so that I don't somehow mess that up. If I need a big piece, I like to cut it right away. And then I can't mess it up. Make sure I've got the right one. Yep. So I'm going to lay out this strip. I'm going to rely on my lines on my cutting mat for this one, because these purple mats are actually accurate, so it is safe to rely on these numbers that are on my cutting mat. Typically they tell you not to, but I often do. Let's get this guy out of here. Now we're just going to turn this strip sideways, and we're going to cut that 8.5-inch square. First, we'd better remove our selvage. Let's get that out of there. So hopefully you already have this pattern. Hope you probably received it this morning in your email. If not, you're going to visit us at sparrowquiltco.com, and you're going to enter your name and email, and that's how you will get the free pattern download, okay? I'm going to line up at the 10, then I don't have to be doing any tricky math.
Dorothy would like to know if the cutter you are using is safer than the stick kind.
You know, Dorothy, is it safer than the stick kind? I appreciate your question, because all rotary cutters, in my opinion, are dangerous, right? This one, there's a fair amount of the blade that's exposed when the guard is pulled back. So you just have to be very, very diligent about closing the guard every single time you use it. But I prefer it. It gives me a lot less pain in my hands, and I'm able to cut a lot more, and I think as far as safety is concerned, they're both fairly equal. As long as you're, respect the fact that rotary cutters are very sharp and are mindful of closing that guard, I think you'll be okay. Yeah. Landon says the only safer one would be one that closes itself automatically, eliminating even the risk of human error, right?
Says she just joined in. Do you sell the purple?
Hi, Paulette. Yes, you can find the purple mats on the website. Maybe Landon can share a link in the comments with you there. It is called the Color Contrast Cutting Mat, I believe. You can look that up at sparrowquiltco.com. So please remember to share this video, you guys, and maybe some of your quilty friends will join you on this fun little quilt along that we're doing here, 50 blocks in 50 weeks. It's good for people who don't have a lot of sewing experience. Maybe they're familiar with quilting, they've done a little bit, but this is a good way to kind of improve your skills and just practice lots of different things. So now we are going to be cutting out, we have dual view, right? Just constantly. Now I'm going to be cutting out these triangles up here. You can see that I put darker ones in the outer corners and this kind of reddy brown in the inner corners. And it doesn't matter. Like I said earlier, if you want to use the same brown for every spot in the block, it's your quilt, it's your fabric, you do what you want, okay? But you will need in total about a 1/4 meter of all those browns. So I am just going to cut myself a single square of brown, and then we'll slice it once on the diagonal, and that will give us the 2 triangles that we're after. Give me a moment, guys, and I'll get these flippy little wings out of my way. So where's everybody watching from today? And how's your weather where you are? We're getting a bit of a warm trend lately. I'm enjoying it because I know it won't last. It's what we get up here in Canada. Cold, cold, and more cold. All right, so again, I'm going to be cutting strips that are 4 7/8 wide. So let's go ahead and I find the 5-inch line and then I go down that 1/8 of an inch. There we go. And now I'll just slice that.
It's chilly and raining today. In
Oregon coast, I think. We're just being envious of you, Laura. We spent a lot of time living on the West Coast when the older girls were small and wandering beaches and walking in the rain. It is a beautiful place to live.
Jamie says she thinks the different brown shades make the pattern really stand out.
Oh, thank you, Jamie. I like some variety too. But, if you only got one brown, then use one brown. It'll work just fine, right? But I like to mix it up.
Donna's bragging from Regina. She says it's going to be +7 today.
Ooh, Donna, enjoy that +7. My goodness. Well, I didn't need 2, but I have 2. That's okay. I'll cut them both.
Oh no, Julie's in Smoky, California.
Oh, Julie, that's not good. There's sure a lot of loss down there at the moment. Okay, I actually only need 2 of these, so I'll put 2 in my use pile and I'll put 2 in my scrap pile. Now we're down to the last brown. This one's called espresso, and of course I had to use that. I don't drink coffee very much anymore, but that doesn't mean I don't love it. I love the smell of it. So I had to put this dark, rich espresso brown in. All right, again, we are cutting it 4 7/8 inch wide, and then I'm going to turn that and cut a square. And that square will become my triangles. So, how many of you have joined our Sparrow Quilt Co. Daily group? I have been seeing some really great blocks in there. I believe it was Pam shared her log cabin block from last week, but she kept it simple. She did all the same color light and all the same color dark and just had a half and half block, 2 fabrics, a center fabric as well, so 3. But it was just so simple. And, you know, not a lot of picking and choosing, just get it done. So I applaud you on that one, Pam. It looked really good, too.
Joyce has a coffee-scented room spray.
Ooh, Joyce. Mm-hmm. Yummy.
Debbie says good morning.
Good morning, Debbie. All right, so this time I remembered to only cut a single layer because I only need a single square. And we're going to turn that on the diagonal and we're going to slice right up the middle. Oh dear, I should have cut 2 because that slipped on me. So let's just cut another one. It's a good thing we've got lots of fabric, isn't it, guys? I think I've gotten a little bit better about loss of fabric. Used to affect me personally, but now I am good. So we're just going to put that point to point. You're welcome, Pam. I really liked it. I like it when people take it and make it their own. You know what I mean? Because, again, like I tell everybody, it's your fabric, it's your quilt. You paid for it. Do what you want. It's yours. Don't be letting nobody boss you around. In this quilty little world, there's too much fabric, not enough time to quilt it all. You got to enjoy every moment. All right, so we now have everything ready. Let's lay it out so we can just have a quick look at how cute it's going to be. Get this big guy out of here. This is a good view here, right? You said they can still see here.
Yep.
Good. When you have an 8.5-inch block of solid fabric in your block, it really makes things go quickly because it is large. It's 2/3 of the block. So really all we're doing is creating some prettiness to go around it.
Move it that way a bit more to get it on.
Okay. There we go. So these fabrics, this one was called Canyon, the reddish brown one, and this one was called Toast. Now, personally, I don't like my toast that brown. Matt teases me that I just need the butter to melt. Do you like your toast dark? He likes toast like this.
Grandpa likes it burnt.
So does his dad. And in my opinion, they can have it. So this is what our block is going to look like once we have it all pieced together. And I have to be very diligent about putting my squares back because otherwise I put them together incorrectly. And I did it yesterday too. I did 3 of them perfect, and then the 4th one, I messed it up. I sewed these on the wrong side of the block, and it just wasn't going to work out the way the pattern shows. So if you get easily mixed up like me, then that's my advice to you. Put everything back and then continue on. I'm just going to grab my handy dandy little Eversewn 30 here. Eversewn Sparrow 30, and I got to lower my table as well. I'm done with my cutting, so now I can adjust the height. It's better for sewing. Which I love because it makes this a multi-purpose work surface, workstation it's called.
Side back or the side forward.
I got to be on an angle, otherwise I look all wonky. And you all know I'm a little bit wonky, but I shouldn't look like I am. It's my chai tea latte today. What are you guys enjoying for a beverage this morning? All right, so I've already adjusted my needle position. I know that I'm at a 1/4 inch. If you are struggling with making sure that you have a 1/4 inch seam allowance, I want you to look for the ideal seam guides on the website. Okay, this is the ideal seam gauge. I put it underneath my needle and my presser foot, and I line up where I want it to be. So I always like to use a scant 1/4 inch. You can see we can go anywhere from an 1/8 all the way up to 1.5. I always use the scant 1/4 inch, and then I just drop my needle right in that hole, and I line up the guide to the edge of that little ruler. That helps me get perfect 1/4 inch, and then I rarely have to trim my blocks. Sometimes I do, we all do, but it's rare. And if you guys did not see last week's, go back and watch it. It's a little bit funny because Matt stepped in and totally saved my butt. I was, tired from Houston and trying to write a pattern plus get everything pieced together. So he stepped in and helped me, except that he was using a different 1/4 inch seam allowance, we'll say, than mine. And so my blocks finish at just under 12.5, like 12 3/8. Well, a couple of his finished at 11 inches. So just a reminder that you need to check your seam allowance and make sure it's all good. Is if she's making a quilt for them. Fair enough. My thread spool flew off earlier. It's down there on the floor. Thank you, darling. That's okay. So I meant to grab this before the show. What's that? Drinking coffee. French. Ooh, Donna, yummy. I forgot we were talking about toast already. Toast? Throw that in there too. That's awesome. Oh, that's a great question. I'm going to sew that again because that looks terrible. Oh, and because it didn't actually take. That works. Okay, a scant 1/4 inch is a hair less than a 1/4 inch. And what that does is allows us to, when we open up our fabric after we've sewn it, there's a little bit of width lost in that fold as you open it up. So when we use a scant 1/4 inch, it allows us to factor for that fold. And then instead of finishing a hair less than 2 inches, in theory, we should finish exactly at 2 inches. So it just allows us a little bit of leeway when we're piecing. All right, let's try this again. No, I'm good. I had my egg bites on the way in this morning. Thank you, love. I'm going to hold off. I don't know what Dad's do. He's currently with Grandma and Grandpa, so they like to hit lumberjacks after that sometimes. I'm keeping my options open. Sorry, guys, a little bit of lunch talk there. Lennon was getting hungry at the talk of all this toast, so she needs to order some breakfast. All right, that stitched a lot better that time. We've got thread. Now we're cooking with gas. So I am sewing down the long side of these triangles, and then we will press them towards the darker fabric. And just a reminder, guys, to share this video so you can qualify for the prize. I'm going to give away the fabric kit to make the quilt. You see it on display behind me there. It's my Bear's Paw table topper. And stay tuned to the end of the show as well. I'm going to give away that pattern for free. You're going to be able to have a coupon code, and you'll pop it into the website there, and you can download the full pattern at no charge. Hopefully you've already got the block pattern. That one went out this morning. Check your email if you haven't gotten it yet. Just let us know. All right, we're already almost done. See how quick this is? And then after this, we should miniaturize. Landon says a 1/4 is too small, that we should go half. So we're going to aim for about a 6-inch block. right, all my half square triangles are done. And I chain pieced all of those, so now I got to snip in between. And separate those all from each other. And then we are going to get these all pressed open. So I am using my Easy Press pen, which is empty at the moment. That's the glue. I need the Easy Press liquid. If you look for the Easy Press pen on the website at sparrowquiltco.com, you will find the pen, but what you also need to get is the refill liquid. The pen's going to come to you empty. It's no good without the liquid. So make sure that you purchase both the pen and the liquid. Before we had just the kits up there, but not everybody wants the glue, so we broke it down now so you can buy them in bits and pieces. And what I really like about this pen is how watertight it is. It doesn't leak ever, which is pretty nice for me because I like to throw things in my bag, and if it leaks, that's never pretty.
It never goes back in there
No,
again.
no. Ruined my purse.
Gabby says, why doesn't this video enlarge?
Oh, I don't know. Not sure why you can't enlarge. I'm sorry. Pardon me, guys. Sorry. All right, so my Easy Press pen has this spring-loaded tip, and that allows the fluid to come out through that nib tip, and then I just apply it on my fabric. And I'm going to show you a with and without scenario. So here is my regular piecing, and I'm just going to try and flip it open and do what people call finger pressing, just kind of smoothing along it with your fingers quite firmly. You know, you're trying to take the place of ironing, say, and I have a perfectly good iron here, but a lot of times when I'm at retreat or whatnot, or if I'm piecing a whole bunch of stuff, I don't want to press every step. So I'm always looking for shortcuts because I'm lazy and I like to do things quickly. So there you can see that there is still some lift in this fold when I open it up. When I use the Easy Press pen, at the beginning, I just give it a little push to kind of activate the liquid to come through. It sat out overnight with no lid on, so it's a little bit dry. So there now I can see it's starting to come out, and I just kind of smooth it across the stitching line there. I actually go on the fabric like this side of the stitching line, and then when I open that up, it just goes flat. Much flatter than these.
All of the acorn ones are on order and almost here, right?
Yes, they'll be here today.
Okay, so they're all much out of stock, so I'm just going to fix that.
Oh, Kate, the big kit, the $50 one, don't enable that one. I've taken that off on purpose. Because now there's a smaller kit, and then they can mix and match the way they want, instead of forcing everybody to buy everything. Because that's the only way I was getting it in at first.
But they can have the whole, they can still buy that whole thing.
Well, now there's a kit that's just, it's a smaller kit, and it's not as expensive. It's more affordable for them, so they can.
So we're not carrying the big one at all.
That's right. Yeah. There's no sense having multiple kits. And
there's still some ordered because we did have posting.
oh yeah, those are, yep, you bet.
I was like, oh.
I ordered a ton of this stuff. Because it's just that good. I love it. Even Matt too, he's like, you don't need that. And now he needs it. He's hooked now. But it just works so well. And yes, it is nice and flat right now, but when I press it, it gets super flat. Like there is no fabric left in that fold. It is open. So I really love it because it's making me really accurate, and that just makes me look good. We all want to look good, don't we? Okay, so just a quick press on these, and then we can go ahead and put this block together. And like I said, I'm going to lay out all my pieces back where they belong, so that I know exactly what I'm doing and so that I'm doing it correctly. So this time I want the angle that way. For this, the angle goes that way. I always have my diagrams handy there. I'm just always making sure that things are going to be on track. All right? Looks good, right? So now I need to sew this guy to this guy, and I need to sew those ones together. So let's start here. And we'll just stitch down this side quickly, and then I'm going to put it back. My little iron is a little travel iron. We do have a little travel iron on the website there that you can check out. I love these little irons. They're just so handy to have right beside you and very lightweight. All right, so which direction was I advising to press? Okay, it doesn't matter which direction that goes, so let's wipe that along there. Press that open. So I need to join this to here, but let's do these guys first. Just stitch right up the side of this little guy. So I always like to tell people about my little Ever Sewn Sparrow 30. It is such a nice little machine to use. And it's so lightweight. If you've been looking for a spare machine to take with you to classes or retreats or that sort of thing, this is a beautiful machine for that purpose. It comes with the extension table. I've had a ton of stitches. I can't remember at the moment how many there were, but I think over 300, 2 full alphabets. It's literally got every feature you could possibly need. And it's so lightweight. 13.5 pounds is great. I'm finding it really hard lately to pick up my big machine. And so this has been quite helpful for me because I'm getting weak or something. I'm not sure what's going on. Let's add.
The little iron is wonderful for smaller blocks.
Oh yes, Heather, I agree. Yeah, you just have more control when you've got a smaller iron in your hand.
Laura says I really need to get a new iron. Mine's at least 30 years old, but it's like replacing it. And I just can't.
Oh, I bet, Laura, I can understand. We just have things that we are used to and just work well together. All right, so this time I think I'm going to press this one to the squares, and then that one I have to press to the triangles, because I want to make my seams go in opposite directions. It's always my goal, so that things nest together nicely. All right, now this is going to come on here. I'm going to stitch down that side, and then we just have to join our rows, and we'll already be done this cute bear paw block. Well, if you've not yet, if you're just new to the show, this is 50 blocks in 50 weeks. We're working on block number 3. We have got 47 more to go. So join us every Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. We do some fun tutorials and giveaways. Every week I do a giveaway. But we also like to do a Stash Buster series on Friday mornings, and that is also at 10:30 a.m. here on the Facebook page. And you can find all our prior videos on our website, sparrowquiltco.com. You can find them on YouTube. We're everywhere. I don't think I mentioned it today, but I do have a hubby that likes to bake. Hi, Christine. All right. So there, now I just have one more seam and my block is complete. I'm going to put a little fork pin right here where my intersections are, and this seam points to the right, the bottom seam points to the left. That makes them just nest beautifully inside the seam. no bulkiness in my seam. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm sure I brought my fork pins, but I put them away.
So we'll make a quilt
At the end of the 50 blocks, you will have 50 blocks, 50 12-inch blocks. And I will probably release some sort of finishing setting instructions for that layout as well. It'll have to be 7 by 7. The plan kind of changed midway through. But anyways, you'll have 50 blocks. Maybe you can throw one on the back, or maybe we can create some extras in the last week and put them around the cornerstones of the border. But yes, you'll have a really nice big quilt if you put them all into one. And a few people have written asking about colorways. I'm just going to be working my way through 159 colors of solids, so mine's going to be scrappy. I encourage you to do yours the same and just pick and choose out of your, you could do it all in blues or all in reds or all blues and purples. You know, pick 2 colors that you like, but just have fun with it. I'm trying not to be too structured about it, making it work as I go. So I'm just taking my time sewing over that pin. I'd never sew quickly over pins. I always take my time, but I do sew over pins all the time. So you can see this is a fairly simple block. I hope you've already gotten your directions off the website there. Visit us at sparrowquiltco.com. If you do need the directions, we will email them to you. And once you're on the list, you'll get the pattern every single Wednesday as we make our way through this little series here.
Are you going to do sashing with those little cornerstones throughout the big quilt?
It's highly likely that I will use sashing with little cornerstones when we put the big quilt together. It's kind of the best way to set together lots of blocks like that. But we'll see in the end. I don't know. I was looking last night at an on-point layout, and that's always pretty too. But we'll see. I don't know. Maybe I'll release a couple. Maybe I won't. And as far as the mini blocks go, I won't be releasing instructions for those, guys. It's I just do it in the video to show you how you can use the guidelines to resize blocks if you're interested in doing that kind of thing. But it's already keeping me really busy. Plus I got stash busters every week, so I have to draw the line somewhere. The Sparrow 30 does have a thread cutter, yes, like a little button thread cutter, not just a little manual one on the side there. All right, so there is my cutie little bear paw block. Now, last night, as we were finishing it up, Landon took it over. She finished doing the pressing because I had to get out of here. And look how she quilted it up. I just love the quilting that she put on it. These little swirls. I would put swirls on everything if I had my way. And she did some fun dot-to-dot stuff out in the border and this nice ribbon candy all through the sashing. It just made it come together really, really pretty. And she used a double batting, so that's what makes the quilting so obvious, like it's very pronounced. Do you notice that? You can really, really see the quilting on this one? It's what?
On the string.
Oh, is it? Well, that's too bad. I think Len posted some good pictures of it, though, so you should be able to see a good picture of it and how great the quilting looks on it. My thread's getting low. I hope my thread shipment comes soon. Yes, you can quilt on this machine as well. You can drop the feed dogs, and it comes with the extension table, so that gives you a little bit more space to accomplish the job. It's also, you can also purchase a free motion foot, and that makes the job a lot easier than trying to use your presser foot, but you certainly can. The biggest thing is always, can I drop the feed dogs? And yes, you can with this one. All right, so should we try and miniaturize this little quilt block? What do you think?
I'd like to know if you can zoom in on the
On the quilted
quilted one.
one? Let's do this. I'm going to bring it and put it on the table here for you. How's that? Can you see that a little bit better? See, the extra batting makes it a little bit stiff, but that's okay. This being a table topper, being stiff is actually ideal. Yeah, I think those swirls turned out really good. It gave it some nice texture. It almost feels like the curly hair of a bear.
If you join the Sparrow Quilt Co Daily group, I'll post it.
Oh, so Landon's going to post some pictures in the Sparrow Quilt Co Daily group, so make sure you join that group and get in there, okay? And then you can see a nice close-up picture of this little quilt. It finishes at 27 inches square, so stay tuned right till the end of the show, and we will give you a coupon code for the full quilt. The pattern you received already is just for the block. But if you want this full quilt, then that's what you're going to have to stay tuned for. Okay, I'm just setting this down for a moment. And let's cut out a miniaturized bear paw with our guidelines rulers. Guidelines rulers have a really cool add-on called finished size quilting. So basically how this works is that we have a 6 by 12 inch ruler. Now, don't get mixed up. This is a 6 by 12. So if you want to buy these add-ons, you can purchase them for your ruler that you already own at home, but they're only going to fit a 6 by 12. Okay? They're not going to fit any other, or they'll fit a 12 by 12, but it's got to be 12 inches long. These are 12 inches long. So what we do with these guys is you use a different add-on based on the shape that you're about to cut out. This one is the square. It's labeled with an S at the top. It adds on a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So if I look at this square here in this pattern, it's currently 8.5, but I want to make a 6 inch block. Well, I know that this square is 2/3 of the block, no matter what size. So if I want to make a 6 inch block, then this square needs to be 2/3 of that, which is 4 inches. So on my guidelines ruler, I'm going to set this little slider at the 4 inch marking. Then I'm going to add on the square seam allowance, which takes care of the seam allowance for me. Now I know you're thinking right now, but it's a square, Bradie. It's so simple. Just put that yellow thing at 4.5 and you're set. And I don't disagree with you. That is very simple. It's not this that's the hard part. When we get into the triangles, that's where it gets tricky. So I like to show you with squares because it's simple and it makes sense. Then when we get to squares, if you've ever tried to do, or when we get to triangles, if you've ever tried to do triangles on your own, there's a tricky measurement that you have to add and it can be inaccurate. Sometimes the pieces are too big. We've got to trim them down. There's a whole big long story here that I'm just going to stop telling right now and just get to the cutting. It just makes it easier for you to use these guidelines rulers. So my center square is this brown. And I have already set my ruler at the 4 inch line and I've added my 1/2 inch seam allowance with the seam allowance add-ons. This slider bumps up against the raw edge of my fabric and it makes me stay really nice and accurate. There's also a non-slip edge on the bottom of the ruler, so when I go to cut, nothing can slide. I can't move to the left, I can't move to the right. It keeps me right on track. Next, I'm just going to rotate this rectangle and I'm going to take off a chunk that will be my 4.5 inch square. Okay, let's get these out of here. Now I know in comparison that my little white square out here in the corner is 1/3 of the block, 1/3 of the width. I'm going for a 6 inch block, so 1/3 of 6 is 2 inches. Now I'm going to slide this to 2 inches. I don't even have to think about my seam allowance because my add-on ruler does that for me. I just have to line up to the yellow, make sure that this is my square seam allowance. It is. So now I'm going to cut the white at 2.5 inches. So let's cut a 2.5 inch strip off of here, and then we'll rotate it and make it a square.
Laura says she uses rulers in her life. She spent 4 hours with graph paper yesterday trying to figure out that.
Oh, right, Laura? It just eliminates all of that graph paper. Laura says she spent several hours working on a quilt pattern with graph paper, and that's fun sometimes. I still do that, but this makes it really fast and simple, and I don't have to think too much, which I kind of like. All right, so now I know that I have to create half square triangle units that are also going to be the same size as this. But now I'm dealing with half square triangles. So what I'm going to do is remove the square ruler add-on. Now it's time to add my half square. This ruler is marked with an H for half square triangle, and the add-on, the seam allowance add-on, is 0.854. Now that's an odd number, right? When we try to factor that into inches, what is that going to be? What marking on my ruler will that be? It doesn't exist. So that's why this is really handy, because it's precise and it saves me time from having to figure it out, and then I don't have to trim my triangles down later because they're already the exact size. My seam allowance added precisely what I needed. So we're going to need 2 squares at this width. So I cut the rectangle first, and then I turn it 90 degrees, and I trim it down to the size I need. Now this, I'm going to turn on the diagonal, and I'm going to cut it from point to point to get myself 2 white triangles. Okay, these are going to go up here. Let's do one more of those so that we can have white triangles for down here as well. Again, I'll cut my rectangle down to a square, and then we'll trim that down to triangles next. There we go. All right, these ones are going to angle like that. Now we just have our other 2 browns to cut out. We're going to need a little square of each one. And I know I have a little strip left from each, so that's what I'm going to cut from instead of the big piece. There it is. Let's get really wild and crazy and stack these up. We'll do them both at the same time. I just need 1 square of each. And so we have already completed the original block, the 12.5 inch block, which you received the instructions for this morning. Now I'm just using my guidelines rulers with the finished size quilting add-ons to show you how I'm miniaturizing this block. And if you want to miniaturize yours too, just come back and watch this video. That will guide you through it.
Heather said, just think the more math we do, the less likely we will be to get dementia or Alzheimer's when we get older.
That's a good point, Heather. They say that quilting keeps your brain healthy. I believe it.
And then Joyce says the only math I'm good at is figure out how much money I'll save on a 30% off sale at Bradie.
Yeah, I'm good at those discount math equations too, Joyce. That was Joyce, right? All right, so I cut 2 squares at the same time. I've got my canyon fabric on top, got my espresso fabric on the bottom. I'm turning it, and I'm just going to cut point to point on this little square. And then we will have everything we need. So my reddy browns went here. My darker browns went out here. And you're going to piece this the exact same way. You're going to make your half square triangles first, then you're going to join those in rows, and then you are going to put your whole little block together. And it's going to be even cuter miniaturized than it was full size. How are we doing for time? Good. Okay, we got time to sew this baby too. Let's do it. Anybody have any questions about that? It is pretty straightforward, but you still got to be able to break down the block and kind of figure out how the ratios work in comparison to each other. You guys watched me blow it live last week trying to miniaturize my log cabin block, and that's okay. We all learned something as I went, I think. Let's get all this stuff out of here for a minute. Now, if you are interested in any of these little block kits or the fabric quilt kit, you can purchase both of those on the website. We've already added them. And if you stay tuned with me till the end of the show, you will get a coupon code so that you can download that entire quilt pattern. If you don't have the ruler add-ons, then the half square triangles are going to be, I would cut them 2 7/8. Piece them, and then make sure they measure 2.5. If you really want to be safe, cut them at 3 and then trim them down. And I got to tell you, using these guideline rulers has made me a lot less scared of triangles. I used to avoid bias edges being cut like the plague. And now I'm not even scared of it because I've done it so many times and I've seen that it really isn't that bad. And as long as I'm careful with my pieces and not yanking them or sewing really fast, then everything's going to turn out just fine. So don't be scared. It's just fabric. All right, so we got 4 little half square triangle units to piece up here. And don't forget about that Quilt Block Studio video on YouTube. We have a variety of quilt blocks there now, and they're just short and sweet little videos, 3-4 minutes long, and we just go over the block really quick. A lot less talking, a lot more action. All right, so we'll keep piecing all these little half square triangles, and then we will press them. This was a super simple block today. We kind of pounded through the show, didn't we? Didn't take long to get here. So Thursday. Yes, Thursday, actually. Tomorrow night we are having an auction, and I know we teased you guys last week and promised an auction and then collapsed. So I'm sorry for that, but the girls have been working really hard already to get the auction ready for you. So this Thursday we will definitely have an auction. And everybody who doesn't know what the auction is, it's a reverse auction. So instead of the prices going up, the prices go down. If an item does not sell within 10 minutes, we drop the price, and it just continues to drop until someone gets a heck of a deal. So join us for that, 7:30 on Thursday evening. We'll be doing the auction. And of course, on Friday morning, we will be having Stash Busters. I'm going to show you a fun little ruler that I have been using here around the store, and just a neat little project that you can do with that.
What is the size of the center brown block on the mini block?
The center brown block on the mini block was 4.5. And then the outer white square was 2.5. So yeah, you just got to write down my verbal instructions as I go if you want to miniaturize. So again, I'm just using my Easy Press pen, and it's folding my fabric magically flat. It's just beautiful, beautiful. The fabric folding pen, oh, not fabric folding, the Easy Press pen you can get on the website. Make sure you get the liquid to fill the pen as well, because the pen will arrive empty and it will be useless to you until you get the refill. Pen comes with no liquid in it. But then your little refill bottle will last you a long time. Although I'm starting to get low. It's almost time for me to get a new one. All right, so now with our miniature block, we're just going to lay things back out the way they are supposed to be. I have to remember points in, points in. All right, so I'm going to join those three across the top. I'll join these two to one another, and then we'll have one last join there. That will give us two little rows to make up this little block. Now, Lannon's been taking my weekly project here the past couple of weeks, and she's been adding the quilting. Make sure you join us at Sparrow Quilt Co. Daily. It is our kind of quilters club on Facebook. People join and they can ask questions, they can share their fabrics, they can share their projects that they're working on. And I don't expect that you're only working on my quilts, so feel free to share other patterns in there too. We just want to see that you guys are quilting and having fun and enjoying yourselves. There's lots of support there, lots of funny comments and posts, and all kinds of really great members in there, in my opinion. So feel free to join that so that you can partake in the fun. So that one goes there, and this guy goes here. Let's just give this a little swipe. Now that would not have folded so flat with that thickness of that seam without this magical little pin. It might actually be the liquid inside the pen, and I don't know what it's made out of, but I am happy to buy it and use it because it keeps my quilting fantastic. So now we're going to add this little white square to the top row.
Are you just halving the sizes from the big block?
Did I have... Kind of.
Chris says thank you for making the words on the diagram and the latest down look legible.
Well, you're very welcome, Chris. I really bothered me that they weren't, and I apologize that the first two were. I'm learning a new software, so I appreciate your guys' patience. I'm not techie, but we got it this week. I'm really happy to say. It's not exactly half, actually. So if you want the information, listen up. Get your pen ready. Ready? Your white block in the top corner, if you're miniaturizing, is going to be 2.5 inches square. Your large brown block for the miniaturize is going to be 4.5 square. 2.5. Your large brown square is going to be 4.5. And I would cut the half square triangles at 3 and trim them down to 2.5 once they're pieced. Lannon's going to type that all out for you guys so that you can take quick little notes on your pattern there. And because we're making it as we go, you can see that the measurements are true. Not like Naz last week. But you know what? Who's perfect? Not me. Not you. Not your quilts. But guess what? We had fun. And to me, that's all that matters. All right, I hope you guys had a chance to share this video. You know the drill. I'm going to be giving away the fabric quilt kit that you see on display behind me so that you can make your own bear's paw table topper. And if you want to purchase that, it is on the website. If you want to purchase the block itself, just the single fabric block, it's also on the website. All right, so this seam I have to press towards the triangles.
Chris wants to know what you do with the mini version other than admire how incredible cute it is.
That's pretty much it, Chris. It's really all we can do. Landon's quilted up each little tiny block individually already.
They're pinned to the big one.
I'll dig them out in a second here and let you see them. Yeah.
Mug rugs.
What's that?
I said mug rugs.
Mug rugs, yeah. That actually is a good idea. You could probably bind it with a single strip of binding. Okay, I'm pinning this little seam here. You guys know how I like my intersections to line up just so. I just get better results when I pin. And yes, I do sew over my pins. I know. It's a scandal. Scandalous. My mother tells me that my granny's probably rolling over in her grave. I find it hard to believe that she never sewed over a pin. But I'm grateful because I got my math skills from my granny, and I'm actually not too bad at math some days when I don't have hummingbird brain. All right, that is the last seam on my cutie little miniature. Let's go ahead and press this last seam and take a little peek. And then Landon will do the quilting on it, so you guys can see that one later. She'll probably share that in the Sparrow Quilt Co. Daily group, so make sure you join there.
Well, if you buy pin, you're going to take them out before you sew where they are.
Exactly, Laura. Exactly. Because right at that last minute, as it goes under the presser foot, which presses down, it shifts that top layer of fabric, and the feed dogs move the bottom layer of fabric forward a wee bit. And so that carefully pinned seam now goes, just moves enough to make you not look so good anymore. All right, just stepping out here to grab the 2 minis from the prior weeks so we can show you those completed. Hopefully you saw the pictures online of them finished up. This one from week 1, this was the Road to California block. And then we took it and made it into a table topper. And here is the mini. This one was really mini. Can I see that? You can see Landon had some fun with the quilting on there. She got some straight lines and then some little loop-de-doo type of things out in the corners. So that one was really small. What did it finish at? 3.5? Yeah, 3.5 inches square for that miniaturized version. So yeah, you can see it's a little bit of a useless kind of little thing. It just looks pretty and cute. Maybe Landon can keep her coffee on it. And then this one, Landon did the quilting on this one as well. This was last week's log cabin block, and it's autumn themed. Bet you didn't see that coming. Straight lines, and then she did this kind of like wiggly meander. It's a bit amoeba-like, kind of flamey at the same time. I don't know, it's really cool. It worked really well on these oranges. So there, hopefully you can see it a little bit better. And then the miniature version is there. This time it turned out 5 inches square. And she did some beautiful feathers on that one. And straight line quilting out here as well. So far those are the 3 quilts that we have done. We have 50 planned, and we continue to meet here on Wednesday mornings at 10:30 a.m. in order to accomplish that goal. We kind of pounded through things today, which isn't a bad thing. Do you guys have any questions or anything else? You want me to do any tricks? I'm just kidding. Don't ask me to do tricks. I can do a cartwheel, but not in this skirt. No questions? Should we choose a winner? can wrap it up a little bit early, and then I can get busy working on that auction for you so we can have a good auction tomorrow night. You guys going to be there? Anybody want to build their stash? I need room. More fabric arrived. We bought more shelves. It's still not enough room. So I need to get rid of some of this fabric. You guys want to help me out with that? Join me here on Thursday night, 7:30. We will be doing a tiny little, not a tiny little auction, a little auction. And then Friday morning, of course, is Stash Busters. Now, if you're curious what Stash Busters is, it's a movement that we began in January, a series of free patterns and tutorials. And since January, I believe we've done 8 different quilts. And those patterns have been free while we do the live videos. Now you have to purchase the patterns. Inside, yeah, we should do a mama and baby bear paw. Next time I'll make the bear paw in here. Isn't that awesome? I like it.
Does the liquid in the magic leave any residue?
No, the liquid does not leave any residue. Sorry, if you put way too much on, it will leave a little bit of flaking.
Dust.
Yeah, a little bit of a dust, but it doesn't even discolor. And the very first time I used it, I applied too much, and I've not used too much since. It's easy to moderate your use of it.
Heather says, what? You don't juggle?
No, I'm not a juggler. Well, I juggle a lot of tasks in real life, but if I tried to physically juggle, you would be laughing quickly.
Debbie says she needs blues for the auction.
Blues. Ooh, we've got some blues. Well, lots of like minty light blues. I had to ban myself from ordering that color because I have too much of it.
I love the mini pop. And then what time is the auction?
The auction tomorrow night will be at 7:30, so that's Mountain Time. And now that are we back on Standard Time now? So Mountain Standard Time. Mountain Time. I can never figure it out. So yeah, check out those prior Stash Busters quilts if you've not already. I know most of you have, but they're all there on the website. There is all the prior videos that we did. So even when you purchase those patterns, there is video tutorial support for you, which will help you with anything that's tricky. But to be honest, we tried to keep them very simple and very beginner friendly type of quilts. And some of them you could whip up in a weekend. They're just that simple and easy. And we had a lot of fun in making those videos. You got a winner? So we got a winner who I'm going to send this little fabric quilt kit to. And don't forget, if you want to buy the blocks, they're on the website as well, as is the entire kit. You can purchase it. So my winner for today is Lynette Derror. Derror. Congratulations, Lynette. Everybody say congratulations to Lynette. Yay! So Lynette, please send us a private message here on the Facebook page. I'm going to need your email, your phone number, and your shipping address, okay? And then we can get that order into the system for you. And the coupon code to download the table topper, did you get it on the website? Okay, is, what is it again? We're just confirming the coupon code so we don't tell you lies.
Best live viewers.
Okay, your coupon code to download this, and it's going to change next week, is Best Live Viewers. So now you can go and download the full pattern to also make the quilt kit. What you received this morning was just the block pattern. Now you can download the kit, and that will be valid until tomorrow night or something?
Yep.
Tomorrow at midnight. So if you want that, go get it now. Go, quickly. Thanks again for joining me, everybody. We will be back with this series next Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. It's 50 blocks in 50 weeks, so we have 47 more to go. Our next live video will be tomorrow evening. We are doing a live auction. It's a reverse auction. The prices will continue to drop rather than continue to raise, so it's a really good way to build your stash or maybe get something that you really need. And on Friday morning, we will have a new Stash Busters ready to go. So I hope to see you in any of those times. And as usual, you are invited to join our Sparrow Quilt Co Daily group, where we have a great little community of quilters all hanging out and supporting each other and sharing fun projects. It's just a really great place to visit while you're on Facebook and stay in touch with all of us. Thanks again for watching, everybody. We'll see you again really soon.